Hey everybody, it's Pinotage Friday at Beaumont, and thanks for joining. And yeah, I thought today we would focus on Pinotage. It's been 26 vintages of making Pinotage on Beaumont family wines, and it's been quite a journey, you know, ups and downs, rough and smooth. There were some years where things we were desperate to make wine, desperate to sell wine early on. And it was quite an intense time to try and figure out what kind of style of Pinotage, who drank Pinotage. There was a lot of like negativity around it and the grape, and a lot of misunderstanding, I think, both from a winemaking point of view, from a viticultural point of view, and also from a consumer's point of view as to what Pinotage was all about. So the classic grape, created in South Africa, classic for South Africa, I guess, a cross between Pinot Noir and Hermitage, so that's how it got its name, Pinotage. And yeah, and this was it was kind of it's a grape that runs deep with me personally. I made my first wine fresh out of school, high school, and was kind of trying to save up some money for a gap year to go and travel the world. And so in that year I happened to be we were picking some grapes from our oldest vineyards, and a few other winemakers in the area had said that we had really good Pinotage. So my mother Jane, she decided to make some Pinotage that year in 1993, and we were very fortunate to have a crazy old man called Arthur Pullman who lived up the valley. And Arthur started very late in life to make Pinot Noir and Chardonnay at his property called Goedvertrouw, a beautiful little place with his wife Elreda. And Arthur very kindly lent us the use of his press. He had a little bag press, and he let us ferment the Pinotage in the bag press. And I kind of still remember, I've still got the notes from that vintage of what was needed to be done in terms of winemaking. I had absolutely no idea as to what winemaking was about, but obviously I'd eaten lots of grapes in my childhood, and had this kind of interest in things that were both scientific and creative. So there was definitely this part of wine that tickled my kind of imagination, and that's where this wine was born, Arturo Sebastiano, from 1993, the first bottling, unofficial, there's no certification seal, so it wasn't a legal wine, but we just we bottled this, a little picture of the mill here that my mum did, a little sketch. And it was actually a really beautiful wine. It was very delicate, medium bodied, and not very heavy, and I think perfect like for the type of style of Pinotage that we were wanting to produce. And 94 came along, and Jane had decided to really go into this wine business in full steam, and she made a Pinotage that year. She also made a little bit of no, she actually didn't make anything else in 94, just Pinotage. And then 95, a Pinotage, great vintage, and that's the one that got the ratings and the reviews. And suddenly we thought, oh wow, this wine industry is really easy, and we can just get into it and make lots of wine and rescue our old vineyards that needed to be either pulled out or converted into something more profitable. And we thought, yeah, let's make some wine. And suddenly we were in the wine business, and didn't really know what it was all about, other than maybe a little bit about how to make it. And I think that's what's been fascinating with the way that we've had to approach this whole thing, is that we didn't come in with too many preconceived ideas about wines or about styles that we wanted to make. We knew that we were very proud of our place, this little town in Bot River, the appellation, the vineyards that we've got, and a few other producers around had bought some of our grapes and made some wine out of it, and it said, wow, you guys have really got something special. And that's where it kind of kicked off. And 95, then 96, Niels came in and got involved and started making some more. And today we have, last weekend we started pouring the first bottles of 2019 Pinotage, the 26th vintage, and it's quite yeah, it's quite special. It's I think this is a really beautiful wine. 2019 is a little bit more robust than 2018, but the alcohol is actually a little bit lower, so it's 12.89 alcohol. It's really really delicious to drink. It'll need a little bit more time it'll soften off a little bit, but I was up at the Vintners Surf Classic last weekend, and we were kind of at the end of the contest. We were looking for some wine to drink, and the guys were like, "Has anybody got any wine?" And I said, "Yeah, well, I've got some in my cooler." So I hauled out 2 bottles. One was the Far Side Mourvedre, and the other one was the Jackals River 19 Pinotage. They were super well chilled. They were actually almost freezing. And we cracked them open in the back of Gunther Schultz's bucky, and I don't think they lasted like 20 minutes. Both bottles were done. They were very delicious, and about 10 winemakers enjoyed them and gave good comments. So this is the 2019. It's the second vintage of calling it Jackals River. The Jackals River flows from Hoek down into the Bot River and is our main water supply. And yeah, it's a really special, important river, and important to water is everything, you know, so we can't do anything without it. And yeah, and we've got some beautiful 47, 48-year-old vineyards producing like 80% of this wine. So it's a special Pinotage, and yeah, come to the cellar, come and try it. I'm going to be at Noble Weiss this weekend. I'm actually not showing the Pinotage, unfortunately, but I've got Syrah and Mourvedre and Chenin and Hope, and that's up at Kaapzicht Wine Estate, one of the first wineries I ever visited when kind of trying to decide whether to go into the wine industry. Classic family business, and we're going to be doing Noble Weiss there on Sunday. And yeah, otherwise we're closed on Monday for voting, so don't come and hassle us or try and get a breakfast or a lunch out of us or a tasting. We're going to be closed, so that everybody can go and vote. And but we're back on Tuesday. So if you find a chance to drink some Pinotage over the weekend, hope you find a Beaumont, or if not, there's plenty of others that are really delicious. Go for it. Salute. Cheers. I'm going to have some quickly. It's been a long week. Delicious.